To class. Let's start how we always start, with our learning objectives and our schedule. Today, Michaela, you choose. Which do we do first, schedule or learning objectives? Learning objectives first, switching it up. Okay, so the learning objectives, you'll notice some of these are familiar because they started out as our learning objectives for last week, but we spent so much time on social constructivism that we had not yet gotten to the discourses. So here they are. I'm going to start with the first learning objective is by the end of this class, students will be able to list 10 environmental discourses and describe 5 of them in one sentence. So summarize at least 5 environmental discourses. We are going to be using Dreisek's model of Dreisek's classification of environmental discourses. So in your chapter in Hannigan, you had several frameworks of environmental discourses, several different classification systems that Hannigan reviews. He reviews one by John Dreisek, that come from this book that Dreisek details in his book, The Politics of the Earth, Environmental Discourses. So does everybody feel like there's plenty of reading in this course? Yeah? Okay. So I didn't need to assign an extra book? Okay, good. So that's why I made some of these summaries. I made these audio summaries. I made these text summaries. And we're going to just use them. But you should be seeing some overlap. What's going on in Dreisek's classification is not completely different topically, content-wise, than what's going on in Hannigan. You're seeing a lot of overlap. Even you're seeing overlap between what's going on in both of these textbooks and Merchants of Doubt, for example. So we're going to follow Dreisek's framework. Learning objective number 2, by the end of class, you will be able to employ an environmental discourse in conversation with another person. That is going to happen in your role play, environmental discourses role play assignment, which is coming up. And number 3, you will be able to identify environmental discourses that are employed by others. That will also happen in our role play game. It's similar. Did anybody read the instructions? They're on Canvas. Yeah, so I'll go over the assignment later, but it's similar to charades in that your job is to try to help the people guess what environmental discourse you're using. You're not stumping anybody. You are working together to communicate something that someone else can understand. And then number 4, we are going to review Diamond chapter, what's this week's chapter? 7, what did it cover? What was it about? The Norse, the Greenland Norse. I love this chapter, y'all. You might have been able, okay, I'm glad you liked it too. I hope that some of my quiz questions conveyed how much I enjoy this chapter and this topic, and I want to share it with you content-wise. So we'll be identifying some of Jared Diamond's environmental discourses that he uses. So those are our learning objectives for the day. So look back at our broad course learning objectives. I'm pulling them up on the screen. Oops. Going to this getting started, the syllabus. So remember that these learning objectives are nested. So we've got these course learning objectives. So which of our course learning objectives do these fall under? Number 1, definitely. We'll be identifying environmental discourses and employing them in conversations with others. Definitely number 3, when we're describing the historical societies. I realize that's really small, y'all. Let me see what I can do here. There they are. Twice as big. Describe the major theoretical concepts of environmental sociology and identify them in practice. This social constructionism, is one of those major theoretical concepts, and the language that we use is crucial for how ideas are constructed, are socially constructed. The language that we use, the discourses that we employ, are the building blocks of a social conception of anything, definitely about the environment. So this definitely relates to number 2, the social construction of reality and the social construction of environmental issues. Discourses are a huge part of that. And number 3, describe characteristics of historical societies that have survived and collapsed, and apply these characteristics to current socio-ecological challenges. That's not really in our learning objectives specifically, but when we identify the discourses that Diamond's using, we're going to be talking about those characteristics of societies that collapsed. And those of you who are jumping over to the schedule will see that that's one of the things that we're going to be accomplishing today. So I hope this helps you see that our learning objectives for tonight are nested within the whole course, and our assignments specifically relate to helping you get to these objectives. Jumping over to the schedule. So we're in this right now, this time where we're going over the schedule and the learning objectives. Then we are going to review the assignment. Everybody should have gotten their grades back on the opioid assignment that we did in class last week. So those are posted. You've got feedback. Somebody who's on their computer in Canvas who was not the person who submitted the group assignment, can you see where I uploaded a PDF? You got it? Okay, so you've got the PDF of your assignment and of my feedback and comments. Great. If anybody has trouble accessing that file, this is the first time I've done that particular function in Canvas, so I'm glad that it worked for at least one of you. If anybody has trouble, let me know, because I want everybody to get the feedback. It is the learning. This is a learning theory. You ready for it? This is like behind the curtain. You're not paying extra for this. You learn more in the reflection of what you did than in the actual doing it. When you're doing something, you are involved in the process and in the practice, but then when you reflect upon what you did, that's where the real meaning making and learning happens. So when you're processing feedback, that's a real important learning stage. So process that feedback. Okay, so we're going to do that. Then we're going to have dinner early. Do we like that? Yeah? Okay, we'll have dinner early. Then we're going to come back and talk about environmental discourses, achieving objective 1. And then in between 7 and 8, you're going to have 30 minutes to prep your role play with another person. The trick with this is you've got to be able to use your discourse for 5 minutes, which is a long time to prep a skit effectively. So you're going to be assigned a group, and you are a partner. You're going to be in groups of 2. Excuse me. And you will, what this will look like is everybody gets a discourse. You know, say Michaela and I are partners. Michaela and I know what discourse each other has, but the rest of you don't. So we don't show you. We don't make it explicit. But our goal is to have a conversation about anything. We could talk about the transit referendum. We could talk about the plastic straw ban. We could talk about recycling carpet. We could talk about anything environmental, but we've got to talk about it from our different environmental discourses, and everybody else's job is to guess. Then we are graded on how many of you guess the discourses we're using.
Could we, before that starts, could maybe the 2 of you give
like
us a little
demonstration?
Yeah.
And I can talk about that over dinner.
All right.
Yeah. Good question. I'll get back to you after dinner. Yeah. So also, just FYI, I sent out a. Okay, here's the background on this. I sent out a. How are we doing on time? 5:13. Okay, we'll talk about it later. How about this? If anybody really is very uncomfortable with doing this on, like doing your discourses on Facebook Live, let me know at dinner. Sound good? Okay, you can do that personally, you can do that one-on-one. Okay, the goal, so has anybody ever been on a field trip with Dodd when he did Facebook Live? One? No? Yes. It's good. The idea is that, like, I don't go on any cool field trips with y'all, and the social media guy is telling me we got to do cool stuff on social media, and I was like, oh, well, maybe this will be fun. And then I thought maybe I should talk to y'all about that, because this is a environment that is designed to be a safe place to try things and fail, right? So if Facebook Live makes it not that, then I don't want to do it. Or we could do it on a case-by-case basis. Does that make sense? Do you understand how I've thought through this over the last 24 hours? Okay, cool. We'll do our role play. So you prep your role plays, you do your role plays, then we're going to have a break. Then we're going to review Diamond Chapter 7, which I only gave us 15 minutes for that. It was really hard, but I had so much fun with the quiz that I thought, like, I can't just keep this all going forever. And later, because I really also want to set the framework for our media analysis assignment, which is the reading in Hannigan that you had for today, right? For this week, the role of media in constructing environmental issues. See how these things are all building on each other? So you've got this concept of the social construction of reality. Then you've got the discourses, like the actual language that you put on that. Then you've got the media, the people at play, creating in these processes that are actually putting that language out there in the world, where people take it in and it partially frames their reality. Got things building. Then we're going to wrap up and review our learning objectives. The media analysis assignment will not be due. It will be due in parts. So just know that, like, don't be thinking like, oh no, I have so much to do this week already. No, the media analysis assignment will pretty much take us through the rest of the semester. Cool. All right, so social construction of reality. How about this? Get with your groups, get back in your groups, and come up with, you can look over my comments, and then you can talk to each other. You've had a week to, I don't know, sleep, process, think about things. And I want you to come up with two big, like, take-home things you want to share with the group. If you're going to say, like, this is our best idea, our best thought, the best thing that we think we can contribute to this conversation on how this framing of the opioid crisis in this community is an example of how a reality, a problem is socially constructed. Give me a thumbs up if you understand what I'm asking you to do in your groups. I see a couple of thumbs down. When you are in your groups, you are to get yourself back in the space of remembering this case study. Okay, real quick question. Does everybody remember doing this? Good, okay. Great. Does everybody remember, has anybody thought about it since then? Some people say no. That's okay. It's okay. You're thinking about it again tonight. So get with your groups, and what I'm asking you to report back in your groups, come to consensus around reporting back. If you got to stand on a soapbox and say something about how this case study illuminates how a social problem is socially constructed, with language and with lots of different people involved, and it's an agreement that we all come to together. And you want to give us like two things to say about this case study to report back. I've got like 6. but I read all of your and graded all of your stuff, and this is my job. So thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up if you understand what the assignment is now. Great. Okay, jump in your groups. Go.
You don't actually want it written, though. You just want
No. We're going to report out verbally.
So fun facts, apparently Macs have an airport utility button
Uh-huh.
I didn't know existed.
Ooh.
So maybe next time we're having issues with AirPlay, we try that.
Good to know.
Oh,
Your group's not here. Jump in a group. Yeah.
Never mind, I misinterpreted what that was. Just pretend I never said anything.
That's okay.
I'm not dumb, but
I don't. We're all figuring all of this out. Have you figured that out yet in life?
yes, I've come to the conclusion that all adults of all ages have no clue what they're doing.
We're winging it.
You're just making it up as you go along, and
Yeah.
then you make more humans, and then you continue winging it, and
Right.
you create the illusion that that's not the case for their benefit. And then one day they grow up and they've come to this illusion and they realize that you too are just a human being.
Right.
Like, I'll think back, I'll look at some of the things my parents said or did, and I'm like, why would you do that? And I'm like, because you don't know what you're doing.
Right. Right. Yeah. Everybody's just doing the best they can.
Yeah, we're just doing the best that we can with what we have. We find that we have it.